Hi there. So today I thought I would look at making a certain type of techno, something that I would describe as quote unquote plucky techno, um, sort of, I guess it's not a subgenre, but a sort of style of techno which I like. And the reason I came upon this is I was looking at YouTube channel of Soma Records, Slam. And if you're into techno, there's no way around this stuff, right? They've been around for ages, lots of great releases. And so yesterday there was this EP by someone called Temudo, and a few good tracks on there, and that sort of reminded me of like the type of techno sort of style that I like, which I would describe as plucky. So I was looking for a few examples of this. So I'll just play a little bit and sort of show you what I mean, and then we'll see if I can make something in that vein. So here we go. So it's about the main sound, which has this sort of short, plucky sequence. Another example of this would be the previous EP, from the previous EP by the same artist. And then looking more at the Soma's channel, I came across this one from the masters themselves, Slam. So these short staccato plucky notes, and then an old track from Under Black Helmet, who's of course also great. So I hope you get the idea of the sort of thing that I'm talking about, which I think is really, it's a cool sort of style within techno. And so let's make something in that vein. And so what we're going to need is a quick sequence of short notes, and I'm thinking I'm going to use Diva for that. So yeah, let's start with the kick drum. I have a nice little template loaded up with sort of the essential stuff for this. Let's just start to find a nice kick drum, just to get us going. This will do. I set the tempo to 130. Let's do a quick little sub bass riff, like a simple rolling techno thing. Yeah, I'll shorten the kick a little bit, or quite a bit, to make room for the bass. It's a very long kick. Just shorten it to about this. It's not about the final mix, just getting a feel for it. So the tuning, I mean, doesn't really have to be perfectly in tune, but I think it's around here. Let's just draw in some notes, like give it some movement. You won't really hear the different notes, but it'll, because they're different pitches, it adds some extra movement to the bass sound. Yeah, it's a little bit clicky, so let's play with the envelope. It's always a thing, right? When you have these really low tones, when you switch from one to another, you get these artifacts, this clicking. So technically this is a sine. So you shouldn't be hearing anything but the frequency it is. In practice, there's always other frequencies. You want to get rid of the clickiness, filter it down. So yes, I am aware that I am now filtering a sine wave, which is contrary to musical theory, but again, it's not a pure sine wave. If it were, would be no point in filtering, right? Filtering would only lower the volume as soon as I move the filter within the range, the cutoff lower than the frequency the sine is actually playing. So yeah, filtering a sine, this is techno, so I'm allowed to. That's great. Right, okay, so onto the thing here where what I'm talking about, which is the sort of the plucky riff. So I'm thinking any of the models of classic synth in Diva, maybe the Korg MS1, that seems to always be a popular one in techno. So we're going for a quick riff with 16 notes, short plucky notes. So yeah, let's just let's play something, and I have my little keyboard connected here, and let's lower the volume also a little bit because it probably starts with a loud sawtooth. I think the root notes of the kick and this bass riff is G sharp. Or it's not. It's actually difficult to tell. Doesn't really matter again. This one. You just need to find something that sort of sounds okay with the rest. It doesn't have to be in tune perfectly. I'll go an octave higher. So then higher note, highest note is a D sharp here. I'm just gonna draw something in. I'm just gonna start with this just to get a sound sort of where I want it. So for pluckiness, let's use an envelope on the filter. So I'll put the cutoff to 0. Envelope 2 is already selected here, so that's convenient. And then with a short decay, that's instant pluckiness for you. Already you can hear that this could be interesting to play with, automate. So let's see, does this sound better with a second oscillator in there? Not really. I like that this does the ring mod because that adds some cool dissonance. Can add some cool dissonance, but you need to G-tune it. This metallic stuff. Just a little bit of it. Now the other thing we could do is make it a dual note sequence, or have maybe a second note come in as an accent at certain points in this. So this is a very short, simple sequence. It's basically a half bar. Also very typical of this type of techno, the stuff I like. It has very short loops, less than a bar. Gives it that very repetitive machine-like quality. So perhaps if we put something extra on every second kick, for instance. Yeah. And something else could even do to give it some variation is, for instance, to make this longer. And maybe extra note here. So now we've turned a half bar pattern into a 2-bar pattern. I'll go with this one, I think. Or this one. Can't choose. I'll go with this one anyway. Doesn't matter. I think you know, this, if this seems really random the way I just made this, it is. I guess that's sort of the point. I'm ignoring thousands of years of musical theory and stuff about harmony and all these things just to make something that sounds cool. And you can of course change it, but there's something nice about just going with this, you know. If it sounds okay, then why not? Yeah, and from here, you know, makes sense to have some drums. I'll use microtonic for that. Just get a little hi-hat pattern going here. Okay, get this one. Let's see what that sounds like. Maybe a little 16-note pattern. Actually, I like this. I'll just copy this, give it its own track. So mute that one, so this one is just going to be the hi-hats. Yeah. And then this one. So another thing that you hear a lot is variation in the drum sounds. For instance, hi-hat-like sounds, percussive sounds, where this is a straight 16th note pattern. You know, there's nothing to it, but two things. First, it's using noise. And if it's good random noise, which noise is supposed to be, and not a sample repeating, for instance, then every hit should sound a little bit different. But to help it sort of get some movement, just recording some automation. For instance, when I move this slider, that really adds something to it, I think. So I usually don't record this sort of stuff into clips, so I'm not sure if this is gonna work, but let's see if it's whether it's gonna work. Because I don't like drawing in notes. Yeah, it did. I like the first pass better. And that really helps to animate, literally, animate the pattern. Also this type of white noise percussion, very basic, but you hear it a lot in techno. It just works. It's just nice. Yeah. So okay. So let's keep it there for the drums. That's fine. Finally, back to our bass. I mean our Diva, our Plucky thing. Before I do that, I need to change the color here. It's the OCD playing up. Can't have two tracks with the same color, of course. That will be in violation of things. So a little bit more, well, sound design, mixing. I don't know where sound design stops and mixing starts really. But adding reverb, you know, is it sound design? I think it is. You're not actually trying to make this sound like it's happening in a real space. It's just creating the creating the sound. Some delay maybe. A little bit tricky. We're already on the 16th note pattern, and so any delay that'll happen will overlap with all the notes. Maybe just best to keep it at a reverb. So yeah, that's just a little example of how you make something that is inspired by something else. You know, I was just sort of looking around on YouTube, listening to some stuff, and got inspired. The idea is to definitely not try to copy anything, but to sort of try and make something that has the same feel. So I mean, I've done some videos before about certain styles and types of techno, and it's great to have examples of what you really like, and they can be starting points. So again, definitely not my intention to copy anything, and it shouldn't be yours. And as you can see here, if you go back to the examples I showed on YouTube, I'm not copying anything. It's just making my own thing, but using a great track in a certain style that appeals to you is a great starting point, of course. So that's just a little example of what I sometimes do. Oftentimes the starting point will be just starting somewhere without a particular idea about what I want to make. And sometimes it'll be inspired by something like I just showed you. And as you can see, if you just let it take you where it wants to go, you'll end up probably with something very different from the thing that inspired you. And that's not bad. That's actually very good, because you have to make your own decisions. You have to develop your own style. And so yeah, the point being that there's really nothing wrong with taking inspiration from others. Just do your own thing with it. So that's all for today. I hope this was helpful or fun to watch. Let me know what you think about these videos. Let me know about the kind of videos you would like to see. I've been doing some basically recordings of my daily sessions in this course I've been following called The Leap. This is unrelated to it. This is just really something different. If you'd like me to look into more styles and subgenres and stuff in techno, let me know. Let me know if there's other tracks that you think are great and maybe want to see me make something inspired on that. Let me know. Yeah, comments are really much appreciated. I will read them. I will respond to them, because this is all about interaction and having a conversation. I think that's a really cool thing, and that's why I'm here. Okay, enough rambling. Thank you very much for watching. See you on the next one. Bye bye.